Hey, Kev. Just waiting for some more people to get here before we start. Philip, how are you? You know this little boo-boo on my head. I had a little skin surgery on Monday. Out here, all we have is sun, and the sun has a tendency to cause me to have these little problems up here with little basal cells, and I have one removed. So yeah, it's an owie, but it's getting better. Nothing to worry about. Dutch, how are you? Cat trying to come in. Cat loves it in here because it's warm. It's a beautiful day here in Texas. Hope it's really pretty where you are. We've had quite a few good days of rain, so we've been happy about that. We've been so dry for so long. Kevin, how are things over there? Still got another minute before I really start. So before we start, I picked up this at Dyess Air Force Base. Kind of a nice, cool Raider shirt. B-21 Raider. That's going to be a really amazing aircraft. We'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. You all can hear me, right? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Hello? Sometimes I can't see your comments. Okay, it's 11 o'clock. We're gonna get started. We're just gonna have a general chat today on military monitoring. Kind of slow going on the SATCOM antenna project. I'm having trouble finding parts. Now, if you've been watching, we've been doing this continual series of videos on how to build a portable SATCOM antenna and what parts we need to get together. I've been to several stores trying to find the right PVC pipe I need for this, and PVC prices have gone way up in the United States. And I just need a short piece about this long, but I'm only finding these 20-foot sections, and they're going for like $50. I'm trying to keep this on the cheap so anybody can do it. So I'm going to check another few other places. I need a 1.5-inch piece of PVC pipe, 1.5-inch diameter, and about 20 inches long to start this. And they usually would sell short pieces of this, but it is getting very hard to find one. So I don't know if it has to do with COVID or whatever, but PVC seems to be in short supply. So we're going slowly. Another reason I'm trying to collect all my parts for this. So I went to order, let me find my parts here. So you need these T connectors to make the polarization harness that look like these, right? So I went on eBay and to order one, or actually I wanted to order like 5 of them for future projects. And the guy sent me these instead, which are not what I want. Yeah, this is for like dual feeds. This is not what I want. So I wrote him back, said this is not what I ordered, and he said he was going to take care of it. So I'm hoping to get those in soon, so we can get on with the project. Just drop that. Another thing I wanted to show you, you might want to pick up if you see these at like Home Depot stores, is one of these. These are really good for stripping coax. You can see the instruction on the side there. You put your coax in there, and then you put it around the coax and wind it, and it strips off the coax without stripping off the conductor foil on the inside. It's really helpful in building your project. Trying to do it by hand with little cutters is a little bit difficult to do and get the right lengths. But these work really good. I think you can get them at Harbor Freight or Home Depot or any of these places where you does any kind of TV installation. These little cutters are just, they're absolutely good. They really are a lifesaver. So yeah, you just stick your cable in there, twist this around a few times, and the coax plastic or rubber, whatever you want to call it, around it just peels off. Makes it so much easier to do it. Had a great time last weekend at Dyess Air Force Base. Oh wow, that was a really good show. B-1s. It's going to be the future home of the B-21 bomber. I got to talk to some of the Northrop Grumman people out there, and the F-22 demo was amazing. You may have seen my video of it. It doesn't touch on how great it was. There was a B-52s there, KC-135, C-17s, F-35s, F-15s. There was a great honor flight with two F-5s and an F-22, which I have yet to put the video together of that. We'll do that. I'm trying to do that this weekend. Did a little bit of communications monitoring from the hotel room. We found a few things, which is kind of interesting. But recently, I found a new frequency with a lot of SATCOM communications that are in English, most likely Navy, and pretty easy to listen to. It is a narrowband FM frequency. It's coming off a satellite somewhere, and it's 291.9 megahertz. Over the last couple of days, I've heard what sounds like carrier qualifications going on. Sounds kind of communications that pilots would make when they're trying to do carrier quals. They do, and they bring in pilots who haven't ever landed on a carrier before. So that's what it sounds like, and it's coming in really loud and clear, really nice signal. What else is going on? Global exercises in Europe start pretty soon. That should make for some really interesting monitoring coming up. We are sending submarines over towards Taiwan, and particularly to rattle little sabers with China, which China is getting pretty bold now. So we're going to send, for the first time in 40 years, submarines to berth in Taiwan, and I think there's a carrier group out there as well, trying to get China to step back where it comes to Taiwan. What else is going on? It was interesting last week that after the global exercise was over, the next day it seemed like somebody had rung the fire bell again, and there was a lot of communications on 175, 89092, 15015, and it sounded like exercises, like a strategic exercise, but the voices were different. The people were talking more excitedly, like it was a real thing. And I checked with my sources, and according to what they tell me, is that, 15016, thank you, Michael, 1515, 1516, pretty close, it sometimes drifts here. What they tell me is there's a Chinese space plane up there. It's been up there for more than a year, and last year it released an object into orbit. And this object, whatever it was, I'm sure it's a spy thing. We don't know. We don't know if it's a spy or a spy platform, or they're capable of launching nuclear weapons from space. Anyway, whatever this object was, it went from an altitude of 300 miles to just over 100 miles, and that triggered alarm bells here in the United States. So that necessitated that jump in the strategic alert till they found out what it was doing. But I think it splashed down in the Pacific somewhere, so they don't know if it was a test or if it was dropping a payload or what. But that really had a lot of things going there for almost all day. It was non-stop EAMs. Very interesting to listen to. So pretty sure that's what triggered that massive increase in activity on the radio bands on fishing on HF the other day. Michael, where you from? Remind me. Everybody, tell me where you are too, so I know, you know, who my audience is and who I'm talking to. So anyway, yeah, as we still seem to be on a heightened state of alert. It's not as frantic as it was last week, but it was still it was really interesting. And you know, we're kind of in a interesting time now. Okay, cool, Canada, but from Lewiston, New York. Very nice, very nice. Never been to Canada, I've always wanted to go. Is that Eastern or Western Canada? You know, can you tell me? Hi, Kevin. Again, he was in the car earlier, but now back in the shack. Kevin he's Scotland, I think it's right, and he's one of the really great interceptors over there. He does a lot of good work over there. If you're not following Kevin, you should. He's all thing UK and in Europe, so he's like our top dog over there. Where was that? Oh yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. If you haven't got into SDR, you really need to. Even if you just buy one of the cheap $30 dongles, you know, to put on a PC somewhere. If you're not, you're missing a lot. It makes it really harder to search out military traffic unless you have one of these. You can use it in concert with your scanners or whatever you are, but man, it makes things easier. In that vein, if you buy one of the cheaper ones, which doesn't have multiple antenna inputs, and you have a couple of antennas outside and you want to switch between them, you know, putting them on and taking them off, putting them on, taking them off, it's kind of a pain, and also puts stress on the connector. So if you have a communication shop nearby, I suggest you get one of these, which is a coax switch. So you have two antennas. You can do it the other way if you want to, but you have two antennas and a switch here, which you can switch between antennas coming in. You can do it way around and have this going out and switch. There we go, two antennas right there. This goes to your receiver. This is the two antennas. These are about $30 American at communications shop. You can find them online. So it's a two-position coax switch. So you could have your HF antenna on this side, say your VHF right here. Oh, cool. Hey, Michael, I thought I heard CanForce the other day on 11175 last week. It's interesting. Right in the middle of all that. So anyway, get you one of these. It's just called a coaxial switch. You can, if you don't have a communications place or ham radio shop near you, look online on eBay. They're fairly cheap. They're pretty robust too. You can it's even got on the bottom a place where you can ground if you need to. It's like we are in the storm season now, and I have to have a good ground. Make sure my antennas are at least minimally protected from lightning, and ideally I need to unplug those things when storms come by, but sometimes I'm not here, sometimes I'm working. If you don't know, I work for a news company here in Amarillo, a TV station, and I'm a chief photographer there, so I'm always out chasing news and doing that sort of thing. So when news happens, you know, I can't come home and unplug my antennas, but you know, if I get a direct strike, it's not going to matter. It's going to blow everything up. But luckily, I haven't had one of those. And I've been doing this for a long time. I've had a lot of close strikes. I've had friends who had antennas hit that have blown their stuff apart. And a good ground will help a little bit, but you know, a direct strike, you'll forget about it. So what else? Oh, I've got some swag here that I picked up at Dyess Air Force Base. And these are really collector's items. I'll get them here for you. This one in particular is going to be a really collector's item. And it's Rise of the Raider sticker. I got this from the Northrop Grumman people out there. These are going to be really sought after, so as the patches. I got one of these, and this, I can't remember which group I got, but I can't remember. It's backwards on my monitor. It says I gained by hazard. And I think it's a fighter group. I think it's an F-15 fighter group. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember. And then I've got this F-15 decal as well. Now I'm going to ask a trivia question. If anyone first want to answer this question gets all three of these, and I'll mail them to you. If you win it, private message me your mail address, and I'll send you those 3 stickers for your collection. I got a lot of patches up there too as well, but a little noise in the background, some airplanes. But those are mine. They go in my jacket, so you're not getting those. So my trivia question is, at the Lockheed Skunk Works, when they figured out the mathematical formula for constructing a stealth aircraft, quiet back there, they made a program, a computer program, and they named that program something. First one to tell me what the name of that program is will get those 3 stickers. And if you are the first one, make sure you PM me your address, and I'll send you these 3 stickers as soon as I can. So the question again is, when the Lockheed Skunk Works was first delving into stealth, and they figured out the mathematical formula to build an aircraft that had a low radar signature, one of their technicians built a program to make a 3D model of what a stealth aircraft could look like, which they called, a lot of them called it the pineapple, or they had other words for it. I didn't think it would fly at first, but it actually did. The hopeless diamond, that was another name for the aircraft, which became Have Blue. But they had a program first, and they named the program. Kevin, you won it. Kevin just got it. Kevin, I think I have your address, but send it to me anyway. You got it. Echo 1, he's right. Have Blue was the aircraft. Echo 1 was the program. Kevin got it first. Congratulations, Kevin. I'll send these to you. Yeah, and make sure you just send me your address again. You'll get these. I don't suggest you put the the Rise of the Raider. Where's it at? The Rise of the Raider sticker on your car, because these are really these are going to be collectors. You're fine, Michael. You know what, Michael? Send me your address. I'll send you one of these too. I've got a couple of these. Send me your address. So anyway, those, like when the B-2 program came out, they had patches and stuff, which I collected. In fact, I even got a signed photograph of the B-2 from the first B-2 pilot, Richard Couch, who flew the first B-2 prototype. So that's an old piece of history. Yeah, I'm glad to send it to you. So, yeah, just DM me. That's fine. That'll work. So, anyway, while I was up there, I got to talk to Northrop Grumman. They had some reps up there. And, of course, they're getting Dyess Air Force Base ready for the B-21. And they're not the first base to get it. Ellsworth is going to be the first base to get the B-21. Ellsworth will be the training base, and Dyess will be the first operational base. And they got a lot to do to get it ready for the B-21. Quiet. Anyway, so one of the things they have to do is they have to rebuild. I don't know if they'll rebuild it or recondition. Is there nuclear storage there? A lot of people don't believe it. The B-1 is not nuclear capable anymore. It hasn't been for some time. It's just been a conventional bomber. And their nuclear storage facilities there are outdated. So that's one of the things they're going to have to do, is build a new nuclear storage facilities there, and also new hangars and a place to apply the stealth coatings to it. The new RAM facility is going to have to be built there too. While I was there, security was pretty tight. There was areas you couldn't go to. There were hangars that were guarded, which makes me think there might be something there already. Maybe one of these stealth unicorns I'm chasing. In fact, right before the show, you may have noticed they banned long lenses, and then they lifted their ban after a really, a lot of vocal photographers said they're not going to go to Dias because they can't shoot with long lenses. What's the point of going? And they lifted that. That's a security concern for the security guys there. And in fact, they would have been better not to mention that, because by doing that, they made people wonder what they have out there that they're so worried about. It was a great show, though. I noticed the whole time I was there in the tower. Oh, cool, Michael. I hope you're not glowing. I live pretty close to Pantex, which is the final assembly point for all nuclear weapons the United States owns, and it's about 12 miles from here. If you live in the town of Panhandle, which is about 4 miles from Pantex, when you sign a lease for a house, they give you a little card on what to do in case there's a nuclear accident at Pantex. Now, our prevailing winds, I know we never worry about it here in Amarillo. They've been incredibly safe, but our prevailing winds are from the southwest and to the northeast, and the factories to the northeast, so they're not really too worried about Amarillo getting dosed if something happened. But they are Panhandle, which is just down the road from them, and a friend of mine who lives in Panhandle, Texas, says they give you a little card what to do in case nuclear sirens go off. Which, when you buy a house, they let you know that you live downwind from a nuclear site, which is, it's got to be a little hard on real estate prices. But we all know, we ever since I lived here, we've all known what Pantex done. It's a pretty cool facility. I've been in there a couple of times. I've done stories. They have an amazing museum that people can't visit. It's a lot like the National Nuclear Museum in Kirtland Air Force Base in Albuquerque, but more so. But it's a secret museum. It's a museum that only cleared Pantex employees can see, and I've been in it, and not allowed to shoot a frame of video. It has some really amazing displays of the history of nuclear weapons. And speaking of that, I'm really looking forward to the movie coming up about Oppenheimer, the father of the nuclear bomb, having been out the Trinity test site several times in New Mexico and been there. And also having once lived in Nevada near the nuclear test site up there, it's something that I've always been deep in my psyche. I hope that director Nolan does a really good job on that. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm thinking of visiting the Trinity site again in October. It's open for one day. I think it's the 2nd of October. First weekend in October, first Saturday in October. Hey, Patrick. See you there. How you doing, Patrick? So anyway, Dias was interesting. Talked a little bit to the Northrop reps out there, what they're doing. There was a lot of B-21 swag. They're definitely getting the public's, gauging the public's interest to the B-21 out there. The B-21 is very interesting because it is not just another stealth aircraft or son of the B-2. It's a force multiplying aircraft. So when the B-21 is flying and it's invisible, it literally flies with a wing of unseen, unmanned aircraft. So it works as a communications node, or basically a battle commander for all these other aircraft. So if there's a B-20 in the area, chances are there's maybe 10, 15, maybe 20 aircraft also stealth that are flying with it at the same time. So it's more capable than the B-2. Even though the B-2 is an amazing machine, the B-21 is a generation beyond that, and it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. It's everybody's noticed it's quite a bit smaller than the B-2, about 3/4 the size, but it doesn't have to be as big because of what it does. So it was interesting to talk to those folks out there, and they were very friendly. Gave a lot of good unofficial, I mean, unsecret information out there. Got some really great video of the F-22, the F-5, F-22 Heritage flight was really cool to watch. We had also some World War II stuff there. Dakota, a DC-3 is the civilian version of it. The C-130s, C-17s were all flying as well. Beautiful weather. Couldn't have been more perfect. It was a little bit overcast, about 68 degrees. Every time I've gone to Dias, I've basically baked because it's really hot down there. But this was perfect. I was going back between going to Cannon or Dias. I think I picked Dias because Cannon had cold front blow in with dirt and dust, and it got down to about 40 degrees, and people said it was pretty miserable air show. I hope to go more this season. So this is going to be a general chat about monitoring. Does anybody have any questions? Anything they want to know about scanning radios, what they need, antennas, or anything? I'm going to shut up here for a minute and let you guys ask your questions. Patrick, you got anything you want to know? I'll sit here and twiddle my thumbs till you find out. I had somebody ask me what's the best overall scanner for military monitoring, UHF, and I would say the Bearcat 15X. It's not digital, and we don't need digital, but if you want a really good, sensitive, all-around good analog scanner, and also for especially UHF military bands, I would use the Bearcat 15. There are others that are really just as good. There's some of the older Radio Shack scanners which get that band, which are equally sensitive. I like the Bearcat 15 because it works with FreeScan, which is a free control program. You can download it, and you can actually control the scanner and program it at the same time. You see a good Bearcat 15X, snap it up. Prices have climbed. They started at like $100 used, and now they're going up to close to $200, $250, but that's still a good price for a really good scanner. Anything else, guys? See, 4 people are on here. Some of you are looking at this right here. This is an old Panasonic RE 1800 scanner. Very few of these around. Programmable in a weird way. You tune through the frequencies and then you commit to memory, kind of like what you do on an FM car radio. I've only seen 2 others of these for sale, and they were pretty beat. This one's in mint condition. What else? I had to go service some antennas this week on my roof. We have winds. I fixed my HF antenna. It wasn't broken or anything like that. It was just kind of sagging. What's my preferred setup for monitoring while mobile in the car? Similar. I have a Bearcat 15 in my car. That's what I use. And man, I tell you, I bolted that thing down because I know they'll get stolen. So what I used to bolt it down, and also to keep people from stealing it, instead of putting regular screws to hold it in, I put star-studded screws on it. You can get them anywhere. They have to take that special screwdriver, so you just can't unscrew them and take them. Michael, I have a 996 P2 running in the Niagara County P25 system. Federal agencies and UHF military, including Niagara Air Reserve Base, using a Slim Jim dual band antenna, and it does a great job for HF. I use the Seymour RSPXDX with an MLA 30 plus, and for SECOM I use the RTL SCR version 3. All good choices. Yeah, I love the RSPs. They're really good. MLA 30 plus does not cease to amaze me how well it does. I have a long wire up, and I have the MLA 30 plus, and what the long wire doesn't hear, the MLA 30 plus will absolutely get. And it really good because I live in an urban environment, and I can null out that noise from my neighbor's plasma TV. It works really well for that. So yeah, that's a really good combination there, Michael. I have several 996s, not the P2. For digital, I use the Uniden 536, which I found is pretty reliable. I've had some friends who have had the SDS 100 and 200s. A close friend who has them, and he's sent them back several times because of display issues. And he, though it's a good scanner, he's really been tearing his hair out about sending it back to Uniden and get the display fixed. They seem to have a problem. I have a similar problem with a Bearcat 885 on my news vehicle, where if sun hits the display, it has a tendency to fade out. So I have to keep a cloth cover over it. So their new displays are not very good. That's why I like my 536 back there. I don't think you can see it. Let me move my chair. Right there. That's my 436. Not there, but it's hard to do this backwards. There. Anything else anybody needs to know? And don't ask me why we're at DEF CON. We're at DEF CON 1. I'm always at DEF CON 1. People say, oh, we have DEF CON 1? Oh my goodness. Are we going to die? No, I just have that display up there. It's fun for starting a conversation. Yeah, Michael, that's why. Yeah, I agree with you. Those cold solder at those issues, yeah. The display issues. I don't know. It's some people swear by it, but I know many of my friends who have nothing but trouble with it. I just maybe they rushed it. Rumor has it that Uniden is working on a new scanner, a next generation scanner, but it'll be a couple of years before we see it. And I hope they get it right. Yeah, 436 is too. I use a 436 in my news vehicle. The only issue I have with it is the buttons. The numbers are rubbing off. So I'm going to order a new keyboard from Uniden and get it replaced. But, I use it a lot, and, I tendency to apparently rub the buttons off. I wish they put some better type of ink or protective on that. So, yeah, the buttons get worn out on that. What else do we got out there? Anybody else got a question? By the way, I'm running a military surplus, UHF. Yeah, Michael. Is there any Canadian brands? I mean, I'm just wondering if there any. I know we have Uniden here in the United States and over in the UK. I think I'm trying to think of the name of the brand that did a lot of stuff. Some of it was like rebranded Uniden. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, they haven't been impressing me much lately either. We'll just see what they come with. I'm pretty good though at UBC 9000 XLT. I've always wanted one of those. I had a friend who had one of those. He said that's really good radio. He lived in Switzerland. He had one. He showed me one when he came here to Amarillo once, and I almost didn't let him go back home with it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I know that there are a lot of different Europe. Handic is one I know that's in Europe. Handic. Man, I tell you what, I miss the days that Radio Shack was around and GRE was here when they built their radios. GRE built some great radios. They built the 2004, 2005, 2006 series for realistic. And these, you see the top one there with the yellow. That's realistic as well, and it's a really good scanner. In fact, I have two of those, and I got one in my car. They're being built by GRE, and I have no problems with them. The sensitivity is perfect. Their noise rejection is perfect. If you can pick an old, GRE, yeah. Pro 95, great radio, yeah. Yeah, if you pick up an old GRE or a realistic radio that has the military bands and get it for a good price, hang on to it for dear life. They are really good, sensitive radios. But as I said, I would supplement it with an SDR, as Michael does. Hello, Mateo. How are you doing? Where are you from, Mateo? We're just talking scanners here a little bit. Pro 96. Yep. Pro 96. I still have my old Pro 93. I got a Pro 9. No, not 93. Pro 43 that works. I got a Yeah, and it's a great little handheld scanner, and it's got narrowband FM on it, so I can do SATCOM work with it. I've replaced the keyboard in it, but it still works well. I wish I had my Pro 2004. I sold it and I shouldn't have. It's like those cars you used to own and wish you hadn't sold them. 2004, 2005, 2006 were great radios. One of my favorite was the Pro 37. It didn't have UHF airban on it. Man, it was a performer on airbands, on the civilian airbands. It was great. And also, you could clip a diode. It's back in the day, right? You clip one diode in them, and you can listen to cell phones. Now you can't so much because everything's encrypted, but that was a really nice radio. I think I accidentally dropped it and broke it. And yeah, they're kind of, they're good scanners. You can find them on eBay and collect them, but you can't reband them. So their usefulness is kind of, they changed the step size on a lot of bands when the police made the move, and some of these older scanners will not do the offset split frequencies. So, but they're good to collect. First ever scanner, Kevin says, I bought was a handheld unit in Bearcat 55 XLT from Target on my first trip into the States back in the 90s. No longer works, but I still have it on the shelf in the back. I have one of those too. That was one of my first scanners. My first scanner, and I'm going to be dating myself like this, was a Bearcat 101. Yeah, 101, which I still have. It doesn't work. I then had a Bearcat 210, which was the first programmable, which was like a godsend. I had a lot of Regency Crystal scanners before that. Had a Sears 4-channel handheld one, which was great. One of my favorite scanners, which I still have to this day, is it's a Uniden, but it's a really good scanner. It's a 996. It still sounds great, works great. One of their better scanners. I have some odd brand scanners. I don't have them on display right now, but I have some of the Uniden Sears branded ones because they're a little bit different. So they had like a 211. Sears had a 211 and it had wood grain on it. Really kind of a cool looking scanner. Then I got the 220 and then 2020. There's one scanner. When I was working at a department store and they sold a scanner, it was a Bearcat 250. And they had on display, man, I wish I had grabbed that before I left, a Uniden 250, but it had a lucite clear case on it. Everything was lucite, so you could see through it. You see all the circuit boards, you see the keyboard, and all that stuff. It was a display unit, and it was all lit up inside too. It was an amazing looking radio, and I had been looking for one of those for a long time to see if anybody bought one of those. So they ended up back at Uniden. I think they were Bearcat at the time, but amazing looking scanner. Michael, I have an Alinco DJ X11T1 I carry me when I'm not at home. I carry a Yaesu HT. I have a Baofeng, which I'm not too impressed with, but I have it in my bag just in case a battery runs out. I'm not a huge fan of Baofengs. Yeah, they're cheap, yeah, but they don't seem to they don't work very long. The batteries don't last very long, or something goes wrong when they just drop dead. There's a couple of videos out there which shows people doing SATCOM on Baofengs, but I'm still skeptical. I've seen a few where they seem to be picking up stuff, but I wouldn't use it as my main radio. What else we got out there? Pro 43, yeah, absolutely right, Patrick. Pro 43, really good scanner. Yeah, I still have one. 2004 was good. You could do a little mod on it. Add a diode and add an extra 100 channels. Yeah, good for you, Michael. Yeah, Chinese radios. Yeah. Well, also not type accepted here. You get caught talking on one of those if you're a ham radio guy and they splatter all over the bands. I don't know if the FCC is actually doing that anymore, but you can get fined for it. They're just not great radios. Most of the Chinese radios are not very good. I stay away from branded stuff like Yaesu, Kenwood, They're a bit more expensive, but you do get what you're paid for. So I have a Yaesu in my work vehicle. I have a Yaesu in my personal vehicle, dual band. I have a Yaesu over here on the desk, which I talk to with my base antenna as well. I don't talk on HF, I just listen on HF. So, and I don't really have the space for an HF transmitting antenna, plus my neighbors probably wouldn't appreciate it if I was keying up at 200 watts. I listen to the HF a lot. One of my best friends, a guy I know him for 40 years, WB5QLI here in Amarillo, he is a mega HF guy. You'll hear him all over HF bands. Huge antenna array. We may have him go over and do a tour on one of these one day. We'll talk about what he could do. He's got really good antennas up, stack beams. He even has his own repeater for UHF. UBC 3500, UBC D436. Kevin, good. Do you use like a mag mount on the car? What kind of antennas do you use for your mobile uses? Telescopic antenna on the GJ-X11 to receive HF military, and it works surprisingly well. Wow. That's pretty good. I hope you're not like me, I'm in the middle of a city, and I get a lot of noise. I did have a lot of noise. I had a malfunctioning power transformer on the telephone pole, or the electrical pole, right behind my house, and for a year it drove me nuts, until finally called the local power company and complained enough about it that they actually came out and fixed it, because they know that if they're getting noise off those things, they're also losing power, when that power is money, right? So I had already narrowed it down with my equipment to which pole was radiating, which was arcing, and they actually came out and did the same thing, and within a couple weeks they had fixed it. But it was a horrible. It would set in, go all through HF, drove me nuts for about a good year. I got them to fix the thing. If it ever happens in your neighborhood, call your power companies. They're pretty happy to track those things down, because that means they're losing electricity and they're losing money if they got something arcing and sparking. Kevin, we got a discrete antenna attached to the window for low observability, but also carry a mag mount which we can stick on, and also an inflatable VHF, UHF antenna which can deploy in seconds as well. Inflatable antenna, that's kind of cool. I'd like to see that. Michael, for my mobile HF, I use a 65-inch standard whip with NMO mount. It's amazing that it picks up. I use a couple Larson tri-bands for my 536 and 85. I use a Larson cut for 900 megahertz on my personal vehicle. I use a Browning on my work vehicle. I bought exactly what the police here in the city use, because it works well for their systems, their digital systems. And it's kind of funny, if I'll pull up and I drive a Ford, which is what the local police drive. It's a Ford Explorer, just like they have, but it's white, and I have the same antennas they have. There's been a long time I've gone like to SWAT scenes, and they think I outrank them because they have more antennas on their car and they let me in. They know me by now though, but yeah, at first I had the same antenna, the same placement and everything. I wasn't playing cop, but I looked like one. I'll send you some photos of the inflatable antenna. Was a prototype I designed with a UK-based radio company and called it the Black Knight. Excellent bit of kit. I'd like to see that, yeah. Send that to me. By the way, if you want to know my email address, want to send me stuff directly, it's and I'll slow down while you get something to write with. WEBB, boy, FEAT @gmail.com. WEBBFEAT @gmail.com. And make sure you label it with something radio so it doesn't go in my spam. I get tons of spam. I don't know about you guys, but I get tons of spam every day. Yaesu FT60 is pretty good for military aircraft, a little slow. There's a keypad mod you can do to upgrade the volume for us. We're hard of hearing. Huh? What'd you say? As we grow older, and gives you incentive to get your ham license. Yeah, that's a good radio. I kind of want one. I really do. My call sign, my ham radio is KI5RND. I've had it for about 2 years. I've had friends who have been ham radio operators for years, and they've been coaxing me and bugging me for 30 years to get my license, and I finally did. And now, now I barely even talk to them on the radio. So, I usually talk to my friend W5QLI has his own repeater up, but his repeater's down right now. He's going to buy a new one, a UHF repeater, because the one he's got is just a Motorola, and it's just not making the trip. He lives about 25 miles outside of town. He was doing real well before with the Motorola he had, but it got hit by lightning and quit. And he substituted with a business band radio that had been tricked to work on the ham bands, and it's just not working well. So he's going to buy, I'm trying to remember the name of it. Can't remember. It's not a Yaesu or a Kenwood, though. Something calm. Can't remember the name of it. But he's going to be setting it up in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to go help him. In fact, we might even do a video on that, just for the fun of it. Patrick, anything else? Anybody else have any questions? We got about 15 minutes left in this. Talk about monitoring. Tell me what you got. Send me pictures of your shack. That sort of thing. ICOM's good. ICOM is good, but a bit expensive and a bit complicated. A bit not complicated. I would say there's a big learning curve on using an ICOM, the way you input frequencies and systems on it. It's a bit different. It's not as user friendly, but they are really good radios. I had one of those ICOM. What were they called? The one with the little. I think it was ICR3. You're welcome. Yeah, I got it about 2 years ago, Patrick. ICR3, which is the one that had the little like a TV screen on it, and it had a spectrum analyzer built into it, and you could also get TV on it, but it wasn't digital TV. And someone ripped it off out of my car. Yeah, I kind of miss it. Yeah, that's what I hear about ICOMs. Pain in the ass to program. They do things a little bit differently at ICOM, but they are good radios. A little bit out of my price league. At least the new ones are, but they're amazing stuff. Patrick, where do you live again? I can't remember. On what's your call? Oh yeah, KD5ZYN. I'm sure you have your own phonetics for that. My friend W5QLI, he goes is W5 quite likely intoxicated, and he's not. And I go as KI5, excuse me, I had to look at my own call sign, KI5RND, which means really not drunk. And neither one of us drinks, but that's what we go by. Main Radio Shack, UBC 800 XLT times 2, UBC 900 XLT, UBC 780, good scanners. Couple of old realistic base sets. HF is a satellite 750. Love my 750. Test to a long wire. We also have a Raspberry Pi feeding into ADSB exchange. Nice. And also an AIS unit feeding into FleetMon. Very nice setup. I'd like to see some pictures of that. Really nice, Kevin. Kind of share them on the group. People need to know that there are guys like you out there that are really serious about it. There's a lot of newbies out there. Sometimes they can be intimidated to ask questions, or they get into it and think that there's so much involved with it, and they see all the radios that I got and they go, oh my gosh, this costs millions of dollars. But it's, these are all acquired over time. This is my favorite HF right there, is that Satellite 800, great radio. The only difference between, it does a really amazing reception. The only thing it doesn't have on it, which I wish it had, was the squelch for HF. It does on airband, but doesn't have one on HF. The 750 you've probably seen in the videos I post is a really good radio. Michael, my 996P2 is fed through my surround sound 24/7, includes outside, so my chickens can enjoy it too. The voices keep predators away. I do the same thing. I use a Bluetooth transmitter on my radios so I can hear them anywhere in the house over my phone. I have one that streams to the internet, but that's just for local police. I really want to do a feed of aircraft, but I just haven't gotten around to that yet. Something I have to set up with a different PC. Keeps the predators away. I'm sure the chickens like it too. I'll probably get used to it. My family's used to it. They hear radio squawking, and I've been doing this since they were babies. Before that, so they don't even pay any attention to it anymore. First, when my daughter was a teenager, when my granddaughter was a teenager, they just like, oh gosh, this noise, you're so nerdy. But now they don't even pay any mind. My grandson thinks it's pretty cool. He'll bring his friends in here, and they're just going to drop their jaws and go, what is this place? They answer the fire pages, Michael. Yeah, I'm sure they do. They probably crow when they are bing, bong, boom, ah, ah. That's funny. Hello, Chris. How are you? How do you pronounce that? Chris Malbeef? Does that mean bad beef? Where you from, Chris? Yeah, I used to have some white leghorns. They would crow at a drop of a hat. I don't know what it was. Oh yeah, those are our radios, Patrick. I used to write for Monterey Times, so I used to get a bit of kit from them. I remember that when they were designing their own scanner, which looked like it was going to be the super scanner, the Grove. I can't remember what it was, but it never came to fruition because I found out how expensive it was to develop your own scanner. They made a couple of prototypes. I don't know what happened to them. I really wanted to see them. I was really looking forward to it, but they never came to fruition. Yeah, I had 2 white leghorns. I missed my Grove scanner beam. It was a good antenna. Wind here trashed mine decades ago. But basically it was a TV antenna that you turn on its side, and you can do the same thing with any good beam TV antenna. You can take it and turn it this way instead of it that way, change the mounts, and it makes a really good directional scanner antenna. I also had one of the Grove scanverters. I don't know if you remember those. They're a little box you hook to your scanner, and it would take the UHF mil band and put it down on the VHF civilian air band, and they worked fairly well. They were a good gap filler until scanners that covered UHF mil band became commonplace. It was fun while writing for Monterey Times. Also wrote for Popular Communications and National Communications. I kind of moved around. And then I wrote for Popular Science Magazine, Popular Mechanics on occasion. If any name were popular in it, I think I wrote for it. We got about 8 minutes now. If you still have any questions or want to talk to me about gear, one thing I wanted to touch on is I hope you guys are recording your stuff. I have a Macintosh. I use Sound Studio. I also have an IBM PC, or just a PC, and I use Audacity to record stuff on that. In my work vehicle, I use a little small digital recorder hooked up to a scanner. Works great, and it really helps to have a backup of your recordings. Kevin said, I missed the days when I was writing for Radio User Magazine here in the UK. Military editor for just over 6 years. Did they cease publication, Kevin? I think most magazines did. I think there's a version of Monterey Times online now. Just one of their writers is, I think, trying to keep it alive. It was always fun to write, yeah. But I kind of like this. I mean, this is more personal, We could talk to the person that, talk to somebody. It was nice to get letters and stuff like that, but there was that lag, We then we had email users groups, which were fun, but there was none of this live element like this. We got this. Yeah, I see, Kevin. They still publish these days, but no military content these days. I changed jobs and met. Yeah, I know how that goes. Yeah, Larry Van Horn does some stuff. I heard from a friend of mine in the UK who says that, I don't know if it's true or not, but he says that Flight tracking sites are banned in the UK. Is that true? You can't do things like ADSB or FlightAware? By the way, I got this hat the other day. I'll show it to you. I really like this hat, but it's uncomfortable to wear. I mean, I really like it because it has that communications logo on it. But man, it pinches right here. Either my head is too fat or it's just not built well. But it's backwards, I know, but you can see the logo on it. Okay, just a few more minutes left. If you have any questions, we are going to get back to the SATCOM antenna build as soon as we get all our parts in. Like I said, I have trouble getting the right PVC pipe in, since apparently since COVID, PVC is, it's become as expensive as metal pipe, and I'm trying to find some that's less than $50 a run. Kevin, flight tracking is fine in the UK. There was some stuff happening in Milan sphere around a program called Plane Plotter, which was causing some concern, I guess. Monitoring the YouTube program at RF Fairford. Okay. What about ADSB exchange? I think I missed one back there. I missed it. I think I got them all. Go through my messages here, see what we got. Well, I see some people I didn't see before, Daniel. Pardon my finger on this. By the way, if you don't remember, tomorrow's Mother's Day. If you have a mom, my mom passed away a few years ago, but I still have a daughter who's an excellent mother. Don't forget your moms tomorrow. They're the ones that put up with, your radio obsessions when you were younger. Or if you are younger, they're still putting up with it. ADSB exchange is good. Okay. I'm going to tell that to Dean Musket because apparently he thinks that he can't do that. I'll find out. Dean used to live here in Amarillo. He's from Nottinghamshire, I think, is up there somewhere. And he monitors HF up there. He was a good friend down here. Met him on the fence line here at Amarillo Airport. He had a really, really crappy Kodak camera and a really bad scanner. And we took an instant liking to each other. He moved back to the UK about a year ago. He's actually thinking moving back. He says he misses the sun. Me, I like rainy, cold days, but my skin doesn't, as you can see. Have one removed, but yeah, I hope he does come back. We had good times together. He is trying to do a little stuff out there that he hadn't done in a while, like go to some of the old World War II aircraft bases and do a little bit of history digging down there. Okay. Anybody else got a question before we get out of here? Get on with our Saturday. What time is over in the UK? Is it? Let me look at my map back there. Looks like you're still in sunlight. No, are you? No, it's becoming dusk. They can close it in on you. Isn't it late afternoon up there, isn't it? Okay. 17:55. Okay. It's like almost noon here. I wake up now in spring to a barrage of people with lawnmowers, weed whackers, and people all doing their lawns. They all do it early because it can get weather warm. Today's a beautiful day. I think it is. I think UK is Zulu time. I know Greenwich time is, +1. You have British summertime. We have American I'm in Central Daylight Time here. I wish they would just leave it as daylight time. I don't like going back. I like the sun setting in the summer about 9:30. I don't mind that at all. If some people ask me if these are any good, they get these with their SDR. These little things. They'll do for local traffic, but I wouldn't use them really for much anything other than that. So make sure you guys send me your addresses. You guys who won the stickers, and I'll get those stickers off to you. Might send something a little bit extra in there as well, just so because I'm paying. When I'm paying international postage, I might as well make it worth my while. So a couple minutes, 1 minute here. Anybody else? I know. Leave it alone. There's an old Indian saying that only a white man would think that if you cut the bottom off a blanket off and put it on the top, you'd have a longer blanket. Cool. Thank you, Michael. And like I say, my address is webbfeat@gmail.com. Get a wee whacker outside. webbfeat@gmail.com. That's my regular address, or you can Facebook me as well. Sometimes I'll miss a Facebook message because we haven't been, formally friended yet. So you have to be persistent. But yeah, send me your snail mail, as we call it over here, address. Okay, I think we're going to wrap this one up. Yeah, it's loud. It's right there. It sounds like a motorcycle. We're going to wrap this one up for this Saturday. Hopefully we'll see you next Saturday. It depends on what's going on. And I hope you treat your moms right. And we're still working on the SATCOM project. Get your parts ready. Get your pieces ready. Don't get the wrong pieces like I did. Can't believe where's it at? Oh, I dropped it. Can't believe he sent me what he did. So it kind of put me a couple weeks behind schedule, but we're going to get that SATCOM antenna fixed. It's good to see everybody out there. You all have a great day and a great weekend.